Welcome back. You know, when you're pregnant, the last thing you need to be dealing with is anxiety, and yet a huge number of women deal with exactly that during pregnancy. That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, I'm Ann Hession. I'm a medical intuitive and an energy healing practitioner, and I'm going to talk with you today about anxiety during pregnancy. So whether this is your first baby or your fourth, if your pregnancy was long hoped for or totally unplanned, no matter the circumstances, there's no denying that there are plenty of things to worry about and stress about when it comes to being pregnant. Will you be a good mother? Is the baby healthy? Are you eating enough? Money, work, how am I going to handle labor? You name it. So no matter what you may have worried or stressed about before, pregnancy is giving you a whole new set of things to be anxious about. And on top of all of that, if you're feeling anxious, then you start feeling guilty because that stress can't be good for the baby. You don't need me to tell you that anxiety is a pretty normal part of modern life. And pregnancy, even the most longed-for pregnancy, can be an amplifier for anything else in life that you're dealing with, whether that's relationship issues, in-law issues, work stress, financial pressures, because any parent will tell you that kids cost way more than you ever thought they possibly could until you have one. But there's a difference between everyday worrying that's just kind of punctuated by intermittent stress about specific challenges, which is very normal and manageable, and severe, intense, overwhelming anxiety during pregnancy. If you're experiencing severe symptoms, then you need help and support. That might include panic attacks or obsessive thoughts that won't go away, intense fear, heart palpitations, increased inability to work or focus on daily tasks, or frequent feelings of intense overwhelm. If you're feeling that any of that is describing your situation, or if you're saying, well, it's not that bad, I'm sure other women deal with a lot worse, I'll be okay. In either case, if you're in that conversation at all, the most important thing I want you to know is it does not have to be this way. You don't have to just tough it out. You deserve help and support, and you can still have a happy and yes, even enjoyable pregnancy. Not only that, if you have high anxiety during the pregnancy and you don't get help, you are at a higher risk of experiencing postpartum depression. And there's research that shows long-term anxiety during pregnancy can negatively affect the baby's growth and development. Now, I almost didn't want to tell you that because I don't want to give you anything else to feel anxious about, but it's important. And we women, sometimes what we won't do for ourselves, we will do for our kids, right? So if that's what it takes to get you to get some support, hey, whatever works. So most drugs that are prescribed for anxiety are not very well studied for safety during pregnancy. And in general, if you don't have to take a drug during pregnancy, it's best not to. If your anxiety is really severe, that may be something you should discuss with your doctor to try to find a safe and effective alternative. But I'm here to talk with you about other drug-free options, and especially about how to clear away and release the real underlying causes of the anxiety rather than trying to manage or mask it. So the most commonly recommended non-medical suggestions for dealing with anxiety during pregnancy or any other time are the really basic ones. They're pretty hard to argue with. You know, making sure you're getting at least some level of exercise every day, getting plenty of sleep, eating healthily, so avoiding processed foods and fast food, eating lots of fresh vegetables and fruit and so forth. I'm sure you could come up with that basic list yourself, right? It's fundamental, and it's very sound advice that we've all heard more times than we could say. I do want to say, though, that when you are pregnant, it's not always that easy. Insomnia can be a real problem, even if you've never suffered from it before. The nausea that plagues most women for at least some part of their pregnancies can make that healthy eating thing a nightmare. And in the early stages of pregnancy, for some women, too much movement triggers the nausea. And then later, when you're the size of a whale, going jogging just may not be an option. So I'm not saying it's bad advice. It's actually very good advice. But it's not advice that I can give to a pregnant woman with a straight face without first acknowledging that you just may not be able to do some of those things. And I get it. So do your best on the sleeping, the eating, the exercise thing. And if you are suffering from either pregnancy nausea and/or insomnia, you may want to check out my other videos on those topics. So what else can be done to relieve anxiety during pregnancy that's safe and effective? Well, as I said before, I'm an energy healing practitioner, and what I can tell you is that your anxiety whether it's mild or severe and debilitating. It didn't come from nowhere. There are underlying causes for the way you're feeling. And from an energy healing point of view, these underlying causes are called imbalances. You may want to watch my What is Energy Healing and What is Emotional Baggage videos to find out more. But I'll talk about it in relationship to anxiety right now. So our conscious mind, what we are consciously experiencing right now, is just the very top, right, tip of the iceberg. And the vast amount of what's going on with any of us in any given moment is in the subconscious. It's shaping and affecting our experience all the time, but without us, by definition, without us being consciously aware of it. We all have, under the surface, trapped emotional baggage from the past. We've trapped negative beliefs and negative thoughts about ourselves and about life, about other people, and they're coloring everything we do and see and experience. I'm saying that these are the real underlying causes of that severe anxiety, not the current circumstances that seem to be the source of it. But it can be hard to see with our conscious mind because it really, really seems like it's what's happening now that's causing the stress and anxiety. Here's an analogy, right? Let's say you put on a pair of sunglasses and the lenses have a greenish tinge to them. When you first put them on, it's really obvious, it's really noticeable. Everything is green now. But after you've had them on for a while, it doesn't seem that way anymore, right? Things don't look green to anymore. They just look normal. And it's just how it is. And it's only when you take them off that you kind of realize you've been looking through a lens and that things don't really look that way. So these trapped emotional and mental energies are like that. They're like tinted sunglasses that we've had on for years, maybe our whole lives. And we just don't have any idea that that's what's going on. So if you have a trapped, stuck emotional energy of panic, let's say, from some time in the past when you suffered some kind of trauma. There's nothing wrong with feeling panic, by the way. Normal, natural human emotion. I'm just saying that it creates problems in our lives if that panic or any other emotion gets stuck and trapped rather than getting processed at the time. Because then it stays with us over time, and if it's still there, it's like a lens that's going to impact how you experience other people and life in general. It's also going to affect your health and your emotional state. So how it will play out will be a little for different people, but for example, it might cause you to feel scared and nervous over little things that other people aren't being so thrown by, or to get upset or frightened or really worked up more so than the situation really merits. It doesn't seem to you like you're overreacting because how you're actually seeing the situation is colored by that emotional baggage from the past. So without you knowing it, you're not reacting just to what's happening now. You're reacting to what happened in the past. So I just want you to consider the possibility that your anxiety has very little, if anything, to do with what's happening now, even though it really might seem like it does. But maybe it's almost all you just getting activated, getting triggered because you have these trapped emotions and other imbalances stuck in your body from the past. Okay, so one way you could think about it is with those tinted lenses that maybe you have big, thick anxiety glasses on, and just things in your life are getting filtered through them before they get to you. That's not to make light of anything you're dealing with in your life that you're worried about. I just want you to consider that that's maybe what's happening. And the reason I want you to consider about that is that that's great news, because if that's what's happening, that means you don't have to change, your husband or your boss or anything about your situation in order to free yourself from the anxiety. All you have to do is release the trapped emotions. And then you can have this kind of new world of freedom and power to experience your actual life, like the real now, in a whole new way. So if that all makes sense to you, you're probably wondering how you release that trapped emotional baggage. You might be thinking that it sounds hard, or maybe it needs therapy, maybe you have to talk your way through it and analyze it and understand it, and you may not want to do that. So if that's the case, good news. You don't have to talk about it in order to clear it. You don't have to say a single word about it. The most common form that emotional baggage takes in our bodies is what's called a trapped emotion. You can actually read about that in a book called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. So these trapped emotions are little balls of energy that are trapped somewhere in our body, and they're resonating at the frequency of a particular emotion. And they're functioning, among other things, as that filter that you're experiencing things through. They're the result of having felt that emotion some particular moment in your life in the past. For some reason, instead of working through it and letting it go, it got stuck. And so you've been carrying the weight of that around with you every day since then. In my experience, it's these trapped emotional energies that are the single biggest cause of anxiety. You could say that they're what those anxiety glasses are actually made of. So using energy healing, and in particular the emotion code and body code method, we can find and release these trapped emotions in literally seconds. The other thing you want to know is that once they're gone for good. They don't come back. You might want to watch my How to Release Emotional Baggage video to find out more about how we use energy healing to permanently and quickly clear those trapped emotions so that you can get your life back. So what'd you think? If you found this helpful, please comment below and let me know what was useful about it. And if you'd like some one-on-one time with me, schedule a free consult. I'm here to help.